YouTube, how you doing? This is NC Hill here with Tar Heel Tactical Channel. Got the Glock 19 Gen 4 out. We're going to do some polishing on a couple of parts out of the slide. Got a detailed strip. Went to the Ranger today. A lot of carbon buildup, so it's time for a good cleaning. I like to clean my weapons after every range trip. But what we're going to polish today, and most of it's just aesthetic, we're going to polish the striker assembly. The lug has already been polished, but we're going to polish it up really pretty, make it shine. We're going to polish the extractor. I guess that's the extractor rod and spring or whatever, I don't know. And then on the extractor itself, this is more aesthetic. There's a couple places where we got some wear. Appears we got some high spots on the extractor. So since this wore away the finish, might as well make sure we don't have no more high spots. We got the you can use flits. I got nothing against flits. If I had a bottle of flits, I would use it. But I got the Mother's Mag and aluminum polish, and I got a bunch of it. So I gotta buy something else and stuff. And it works just as fine as flits, I do believe. We got the figure out where I've set it. The Dremel. Oh, it's right here behind the camera. We got the Dremel 2800 cordless, little cotton polishing buffer dealie on it. Nothing major. So what we're going to do, take this little Mother's. I just like to take my finger, so you guys can see this, get it on the camera. I really don't like my hands wrapping around the cameras like this, so I try to put it off to the side. We got it on there. Let's go to the lower speed. This is a variable speed, 5,000 to 30,000 RPM. Right down to about 15,000 RPM. A little polishing on it. Take a little rag. Wipe it off. A little bit of shine here. Continue the process. Put it on there again. Basically, you're taking off a layer of oxidation. And you're polishing the metal, which I think helps your weapon function, because you don't have to use as much oil, because everything's smooth and shiny, and instead of that porous metal absorbing the oil, you're just getting a light, smooth coating. Oh, look at that, cleaned up very nicely. Might as well do the spring too. Wipe it off. See what we got. Looks like a chrome cylinder. But as I was saying, you polish this down, you're polishing the metal. It has pores in it, irregularities. Polish it down. That's what gives it a shine. Once everything is the same surface, all the light is being reflected in one direction back to you, then light shooting off in different areas. And then instead of this absorbing the oil and having to really, have to have a wetter gun to have as good lubrication, a thin film of oil will then suffice. Get that one more time. Like I said, it really doesn't matter with this because this part doesn't move. All it does is that spring keeps tension on the extractor so it can pull the casing out of the chamber after you fire the round. Holy cow! It's just like it's a shiny part there now. Okay. Let's just, I ain't gonna put any extra. It's gonna hit the high spots that I see. Because if it's rubbing the finish off of the extractor, it's metal on metal, and you don't normally put lubricant on this. So I mean that causes drag, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's where the erratic ejections are coming from. I don't have any. I went to the range yesterday, fired 100 rounds, or I didn't. I had my friend who had never fired before fire 100 rounds, and I counted 10. I was standing behind him to his right at about 5 o'clock, and 10 come back and hit me. So of 100 rounds, 90 went to 4 o'clock, 3 to 4 o'clock, because some of them did like kick straight out and hit the side of the partition, and 10 of them went to 5 o'clock. And I think those 10 would have been the 10 that would have ejected back into his face with the erratic ejection guns that some people seem to have. You could polish all that up and have that thing shiny if you wanted, but I'm not going to do that. I just want to hit the wear spots. That way I know they're smooth. I'll get some dry lube on that. Get around. I don't think I got right there very good. Right out here. There we go. So all the high spots where I had wear, I went in and hit them, smooth them up. Who knows? And last but not least, striker. Let's be careful, because the last time I did this, I lost the spring cap somewhere. I did eventually find it 2 hours later. There's both the cups. The spring, the striker. And like I said, I have on the lug, I have polished it already. But I'm gonna go back and polish the whole thing. Why not? I don't think there's no kind of dipping or process. I just think this is a piece of metal. So I mean, I'm not taking any kind of coating off or any of that. I'm just cleaning up the metal. Sorry guys, I keep on reaching back to wipe off and you guys don't get to see that. I really don't want to do nothing up there much, so I'm being very careful. Guess I can get in there a little bit. Let me do a little bit, wipe it off, see where you've missed, so that way you're not going over an area that's you've completed and you don't know it. Here. Right here on this striker, that face right there, that's the most important part. Because that's the part, where's that? That's the part that hooks the cruciform. If you can see that. And when you pull the trigger, that slides down out of the way, releases the striker. You know, I mean, I don't even really think, everybody says polish the top of the cruciform and polish that. It appears to me, and I don't have the orange maintenance plate or inspection plate to see if that actually even touches the top of the cruciform, but when it's in that pistol, that is touching that. When you pull the trigger, that slides off. So the slicker that is, the crisper, and it's going to lessen your trigger pull also. Hence the 25-cent trigger job that everybody does. That's what they're after. Oh, shiny and pretty striker. Now when I go to a GSSF match, I'll have to be like, no, seriously, that's a Glock part. No, it's not aftermarket. There's nothing there to polish, so. And I'm probably going to polish the spring a little bit. You're not going to be able to get it all the way polished because you can't get inside of it. Well, yeah, I'm sure you could with a Q-tip, but I'm not going to sit there for hours polishing some spring. I'm just going to. Some people say this simulates wear, so this would be like your broken or a reduced weight spring, and I know some people sell GSSF legal springs, competition springs, and the best anybody can figure is that all they've done is taken a stock spring and polished it And whatever that does lessens it. It really was difficult. Burn my fingers. So, and it didn't really even shine it up, so. Oh, so there's some shiny. A little bit. Actually, do it one more time. Just really hot, so. Ooh, you gotta remember that is turning 15,000 RPM. Oh. There we go. So, recap, we polished the striker up, made it look all pretty. Polished that, which just puts pressure on the extractor. That is plastic, so there's nothing to polish there. We polished the spring. We got some high spots on the extractor. And everything else in this gun's already polished, so that's already polished. It needs to be cleaned up. No, that's not polished. That one's polished. I haven't taken it apart. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to clean up. I know you guys don't want to watch me hold the gun. So I'll clean up, pause the video, show you once I get it all together. Just a quick side note here. I just wiped it off. I want people to see it. This gun's been cleaned several times, polished and everything else. And it still has some of the factory, the copper lube in it. And it's not that I've tried to not take it out. That stuff stays in here. There was a big pile down here that I just wiped out. And so much carbon's built up in the, mainly in the extractor here. It's a lot of carbon. I use, if anybody's wondering, I use a little bit of alcohol in a cap. 91% strong stuff. Have my finger at 91%. My lubricant of choice will be Polishng. And plenty of Q-tips. Let's see, I just wiped this out one time. That's why you gotta clean your guns after every trip to the range, I'm telling you. If somebody wants to, I don't have no pipe cleaners. I looked at the grocery store. I didn't see any. I need to find some. Let me know if you got a hook up on some pipe cleaners. You want to send me some? Give you a shout out. And there's still a lot of carbon. But I can't clean that out. I think it's down in there pretty good. Definitely needing some pipe cleaners. Real quick here, I don't know if anybody looks at this. I got the slide rails here that the slide sits on top of and rides back and forth. It touches the tops and the sides. Well, they got the metal and they put plastic around it, and I was just cleaning this one up and I noticed something. Watch this. As I slide this is my brand new folding razor, Columbia River knife and tool. Awesome utility folder. Probably do it. I don't do knife reviews. I'm not going out and buying knives to review them, but I really like this. If I get something I really like, I'll do a review on it. But anyway, I'm sliding. There's some plastic right there. So your slide's sitting there sliding back and forth. Well, that's resistance. So I'll just take the knife here. There we go. I noticed that on the HK last night there's still something that's been polished. I don't know what that's from. Let's chewed on that a little bit. The back ones are fine. And here's something you always want to check on to make sure these plastic parts are lower. And I take a straight edge is what I use, and make sure there's nothing sticking out. I got these little plastic ears here, because that plastic with its sharp edges is not nowhere near as smooth as the metal. Got everything oiled up. Got the inside slide oiled up, so we'll go ahead and real quick reassemble. Start out. Shined out. Oh, I forgot I was going to polish that too, so I polished the plunger. One thing I didn't mention. See, this always looks like it's going in backwards. Glock tool. Yeah, that's right. Drop that in. Got the striker all reassembled. Drop that in. Back plate is back plate. There it is. Turn the camera for you guys, sorry. There's our reassembled slide. Ready to go on the frame as soon as we get it cleaned up. So, okay, just finished getting everything. Oh, I forgot to put something together. Getting everything cleaned up. I like to. I like to when I oil my pistol. I don't like to put drops on it. I like to take a Q-tip, dip it in the ballist oil, rub it everywhere it needs to go. So, put the trigger bar back on the spring. I think I did that backwards. Pretty sure I did, yes. Ah, you guys couldn't see it. Put it on backwards. I guess I did have it right the first time. So, slides assembled, oiled up inside. So everybody knows how to put. So we got to put the frame back together first. So to do that, all you do is drop your trigger assembly in. Everything's cleaned up inside. Okay, go ahead and drop this in right there. I'll put your block in. What do you think? I've never put one of these pistols together before. some oil. So anyway, as I was saying, I just take Q-tip. Just all what you need. Somebody's going to say, oh, you're using cotton. Pieces of cotton are going to get everywhere. I don't really care. It's what I've always used. Never had any problems. I like the look. Yeah, no cotton. Cool. That's in. Then you can put this in correctly. The right side. Okay, here's where most people get in trouble. Which I did. You want to put the top pin in first. It's because sometimes when you put this one in, the spring can get up over it can go over the pin, and then get all kinds of issues. Find me a flat surface there. Okay, top end's in. Okay, now that the top pin is in, when you slide this in, it's going to push the spring down exactly where it goes. Install bottom pin, the larger of the two. It has to hit the hole, which is not lined up. There we go. Centered. They'll click a little bit. They got indents. Okay. So other than, oh yeah, I lost the plastic short pin. I took the 2mm back strap off and went back to the small frame. Just fits my hands better. The 2mm, my fingers were like right there, and I just couldn't wrap around. I couldn't touch. I got big hands, but I got some meat hooks there. There's some meat on them, so that feels a lot better. So anyway, could not find this short plastic pin. I put it in a drawer, a box, a bag somewhere. So I went to the shop, found a Dremel bit. What this is where's my Dremel? It is the shank off of it's not this attachment, but it's the shank I took and cut it off of a Dremel bit. One end is chamfered, so I always put that end in first. So now, here we go. It's got a metal I guess that's the trigger grip pin. Okay, so at this point we're at field strip. So you take your barrel, just put a drop of oil right there. Oh, that's like 4 drops. You can always go back in and remove some oil, because that barrel likes to ride on that. Barrel in. Okay. If anybody can see it, not too bad. Little pig nose starting to go on. Return spring assembly. Hear a lot of people say it. They'll disassemble the gun and the return spring assembly. Won't be seated in there. Well, that lug down here where you put the return spring assembly, oh, you couldn't see, sorry. It won't be seated. They'll disassemble the gun. It'll be up here. They're like, well, that's not where I put it in at. That bottom lug, that's just an assembly lug. You put it down there. So when you assemble the gun, that return spring assembly actually sits against the slide release. The What they call it? The slide release. So it sits in, when you assemble the pistol, it should be sitting up here in that one, that, and the slide release. That's just an assembly lug. So everything's back in. I hear some people say you have to reset it to assemble it. I've never done that. I guess it does make it easier. I don't know. So there we go. It's all shiny in there now. That is so smooth. I'm going to get a gauge one day. I'll get a trigger gauge and we'll measure a stock G19. I'll attain one. I'm making this something so we can measure how much force it takes to pull the slide rearward versus mine that's been polished and cleaned up. And the trigger. See that? We'll take up. Crisp. Feels good. Back assembled. Cleaned from the range trip yesterday, and played around, polished some stuff inside internally in the slide. NC heel out.